Okay, guys, welcome back to a new video here. So Jimmy Kimmel is back. He's returned, and this comes right after today. Joe Rogan released a new podcast episode where he defended Jimmy Kimmel, and I got to give him a lot of credit for that. I mean, I was really interested to see what Rogan would say, given his real emphasis on free speech over the years. But to be totally fair, he was very, very supportive of Kimmel. He said it was effing insane what the government's doing going after him. And Kimmel returned just now, gave his monologue. I thought it was a really good monologue, basically saying, and he also conceded, like, listen, I was not trying to make light of the death of a young man, of Charlie Kirk, and he was getting pretty emotional talking about it. But at the same time, he was hammering the Trump administration, saying it's totally ridiculous that the administration is trying to censor me over a joke. It's disgraceful. And he kind of leveled into him about everything going on. Talked about Colbert. He's been thanking people for all the support he's been getting. And good for Jimmy Kimmel, just honestly just laying it all out and still attacking Trump given the situation that he's obviously in. And Rogan in particular is defending him, saying he's a really nice guy. He's friends with him. I'm not sure if he's friends with him, but he says he's a really nice guy and he's totally supportive of him being able to say what he wants. He thinks the government going after him is totally insane. So I give Rogan a ton of credit for that. And we're going to show you the clip of Rogan reacting to the Jimmy Kimmel suspension slash censorship, because that's what it is. It's censorship by the United States government. There's just no question about it, because Trump wanted him off the air. I mean, again, he literally said 2 months ago, guys, Trump, that, oh, Colbert's out, now Kimmel's next. The other day, Kimmel got, censored, suspended for a short time. And he said when he thought he would be fired, he's then said, oh, okay, Jimmy Fallon's going to be next now. And he reacted to Jimmy Kimmel being back on the air tonight, and he was not happy whatsoever, saying, what is going on? This is ridiculous. So he's very mad at the news. So he might be, and he even threatened to sue ABC for having him back on, which is just totally insane. So here's a clip of Rogan reacting to Jimmy Kimmel, basically being suspended slash fired. I mean, at the time, there was no indication what was going to be going on with Kimmel. So here's a clip, and we'll talk about it in just a minute. And by the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. It's super good for the algorithm, and it helps out the channel immensely. We're super close to 1,000 subscribers, so let's try and get there. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want to become a member, my Patreon's down below, and the YouTube join button is below as well. Thank you guys for watching. Here's a clip, and we'll talk about it in just a second.
That is happening right now.
Yeah, wild.
Very wild. Okay, first of all, the FCC is you have to have a license to broadcast, which is kind of crazy when you think about what that means now. Because, like, what does it mean? It used to mean that you used to have a license to broadcast because you were going to influence so many people. They had to make sure that you were on the up and up, right? So they had to make sure that you didn't swear. So if you had a license and you were on CBS or NBC or ABC, you could not swear, right? That was the rule. And then along came cable. And somehow or another, cable is a different thing, right? Because cable, you have to pay for it, I guess, so it's different. And so then some of the channels, you don't have to pay for. It used to be the only ones that swore were like HBO, where you had to pay for. And then all of a sudden it became kind of any of them, because they realized, like, hey, we don't, like FX, we can swear, guys. Like, we only don't swear because we want to think of ourselves as TV.
Right.
But HBO was like, with The Sopranos, with HBO comedy specials, in the beginning, that was a big one. You could just swear. Movies, you didn't have to bleep anything out, just wild. And so what you're dealing with even, like, first of all, I definitely don't think that the government should be involved ever in dictating what a comedian can or cannot say in a monologue. That's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
Now, if the problem is the companies, if they're being pressured by the government, so if that's real, and if people on the right are like, yeah, go get them, oh my God, you're crazy. You're crazy for supporting this, because this will be used on you. You don't think that the fucking globalist lizard people who run the world are sitting here going, great, what do we got, 3 years? We'll wait this out. Wait this out. Yeah. Let them say the government should be involved in censoring people's speech. Yeah. Let them support that. Let these fucking dumbasses, because Jimmy Kimmel's a leftist, let these dumbasses think it's a good idea and we should celebrate that.
That's the most toxic shit I keep seeing online, when people are like, yeah, shut him down. Now, this goes into a lot.
Okay, so again, I thought it was really pretty good for Rogan there, basically to make his position known, especially given the fact that, a lot of other people who you think would be totally supportive of Jimmy Kimmel. Like, I think Dave Portnoy is one example who for years has been talking about censorship and free speech and cancel culture. He actually was totally fine with Kimmel getting suspended, which is, of course, obviously hypocritical. I mean, it's totally insane when you look at what people like Dave Portnoy have said about this. But Rogan's basically pulling no punches, saying it's ridiculous the government is doing this. And he also, and again, a lot of what people have been doing, like even Megyn Kelly, Dave Portnoy, they did not, and again, it has to be dishonest. They basically mentioned that, oh, he was fired for business purposes, which is obviously untrue and ridiculous. The reason why he was suspended is because the FCC guys threatened to revoke ABC's license, and also ABC is looking for a merger that the government has to approve. And again, if you're being threatened by the government, you're probably going to listen to them if they have, say, okay, let's get Jimmy Kimmel off the air, controversial moment, let's try and take him off, which of course is why they did that, okay? And it was even reported that the ABC executives did not even think what Kimmel said went over the line. So, I mean, totally ridiculous, obviously, the suspension. Again, an obvious case of government censorship. And Rogan's basically saying it's ridiculous the government can basically threaten to revoke your license. What are we even talking about here? And he also calls out, again, good for Rogan, he calls out the right-wingers who are saying, oh, okay, you know what? Yeah, this is actually good. Get Jimmy Kimmel off the air, which of course is so hypocritical. Again, after years of claiming to be champions of free speech and, the left is the party of censorship, when obviously the right is doing, and again, this is that on steroids. Again, people are calling this cancel culture. It's really not cancel culture. It's state suppression of speech. It's totally different. It really is. So again, good for Rogan on calling it out. And again, he seems to like Kimmel, thinks he's a nice guy. And I thought it was very honest. And again, Kimmel, even in his monologue tonight, gave people like Rogan, Ben Shapiro, Ted Cruz a bunch of credit, which honestly, good for him. I mean, he's being honest and he's being authentic and principled, which is what, and especially in times like this when things are so partisan and divisive, it's super important to be principled in times like this. And again, and also the last thing Rogan says is, the right wingers who are cheering this on. I mean, first of all, it's so not principled and ridiculous, but at the same time, are you stupid? Like, you think the Democrats are going to utilize this in the future? Because what happens if you have a Democrat in 2028 and Fox News states something that's not true, which obviously they do that quite a lot? You know what? Okay, we'll take them off the air. And then there'll be, of course, a huge uproar, but they'll just point to the Jimmy Kimmel incident and probably things to come down the road to justify that. Again, totally absurd, absolutely ridiculous, not principled whatsoever when people on the right who are thinking this is such a great thing and government censorship is great now because we're in charge. Ridiculous. Obviously hypocritical and insane. But overall, really good job by Rogan, I thought. Respect to him for defending Jimmy Kimmel and actually standing on principle here. So good for Rogan. That's what I got for you guys today. And if you're enjoying the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Super good for the algorithm. And we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So let's try and hit that very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have an episode coming out tomorrow as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great night, and I'll see you later.